Welcome to my new blog. It's called Businesswomen in the Burbs.
Excellent. Sounds great.
So essentially, basically what we want to talk about is your business, where you come from. So can you tell us a bit about where you actually come from?
In my background in business?
No, in general, like your life.
My life. I come from Brisbane. I went to a fantastic high school called Newmarket High School, which is where I met some wonderful people, including yourself. I left school and worked in banking for 18 years, then had children and decided to start my own business. So I found out about marriage celebrancy and thought, because I'm very talkative and I love meeting new people, and again I'm very talkative, thought that it was the perfect job for me.
How is it that you found your way into celebrancy?
I had Sean. He was just a baby, and actually I had Ashley as well. She was a newborn, and Sean was not quite 2. And I saw an advertisement in the local paper to do a celebrant course. And it was almost like a light bulb moment. It was like, ping, hey, I could do that. So I asked around, I thought about it for a while, and then I suggested to a couple of friends, this is what I might do. And they said, that's the perfect job for you, you should so do that. So I did the course, eventually, waited till Ashley was a little older, did the course, and by the time Ash was 2, I was a qualified celebrant.
Wow.
Yes. And I love it.
So you've been doing it for how long now?
10 years this year.
10 years. And this whole time you've been in Brisbane?
I've been in Brisbane. I do weddings outside of Brisbane. I go to the Gold Coast. I'll go to the Sunshine Coast. Yep. Go down. I've done New South Wales weddings in the northern part of New South Wales. Okay. It's mostly clients who live in Brisbane but are getting married outside of Brisbane. But I've also done weddings for clients who live interstate but are getting married in Brisbane. So we communicate over the phone and Skype and talk that way, get documents signed by people wherever they are. Yep. So there's always a way to get around things.
Yeah. Do you find that it can be sometimes difficult to get your way around things?
No, I think there's a solution to every problem. Yep. You just have to think about what to do, and I'm pretty good at thinking outside the box. So I've never come across anything major. There's never been any major issues.
You've really never had any major issues?
No, I did a wedding for a couple who lived in the Northern Territory. And
you went to the Northern Territory?
No, they came here to Brisbane, and despite, it's a big move, it's a lot to do, despite the fact that I had reminded them I needed to cite their birth certificates, and they still forgot them, and so there was a bit of a panic because they only got here 4 days before the wedding.
Oh my goodness.
But I said to them, were you both born in Brisbane? And they said yes. So they just went into birth test marriages and got new birth certificates. Problem solved.
Brilliant. And that's the helpful thing about being local to the area as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that there would have been a way. Yeah. You just need to push.
Yeah. You just got to find out your citizenship.
You just got to find it.
Yeah. Slight technical difficulty, but that's okay. We'll just edit.
Now you can see what we're in.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, especially, the ability of having technology, and I'll just get you to place that around towards you. Yeah, thanks. The ability of what we can use in technology. So at the moment, I've come over today and we're talking about social media. So how do you use that in your field? How do you find using social mediums in your field, and what do you use? What is helpful for you?
I am still learning, but I have had Facebook for a really long time, and I have booked weddings and connected with people over Facebook. Every now and then I do promotion. I promote posts with special deals, or if I have a bridal expo coming up, like I do on the 4th of March this year, usually the week out of the expo I promote it so people can see that it's going to be happening and I'm going to be there, so they can come and meet me personally.
Excellent.
Because that's usually the best way to know whether you're comfortable with a celebrant, is to meet them.
Yeah, yeah. So the Bridal Expo, does that happen every year?
This one is a vintage bride.
Oh.
And it's a beautiful one. It's small. It's at the joinery at West End. I don't personally like the really big ones, the ideal brides and stuff, because there's 30 celebrants and then there's 30 photographers, and I'm sure it gets very overwhelming for everyone. So this one keeps it capped at, usually about 3 vendors in each category. You get to chat to people, ask questions. You can book on the day if you want to. If not, you can go away and have a think.
I know that we've spoken to this before, but they don't know. So what is it that you're interested, or what is it that you like to bring to your clients or people, however you refer to them, as what it is that you have to offer? Like, what are your niches?
I really like to personalise every single ceremony, but not only just personalise it in the way that you talk about them as a couple, but to find their thing, to mention their quirkiness. Or I love couples who are very into something, and it could be anything from fishing to pop culture to music to books, just anything. And so some of the most fun weddings that I've written, or ceremonies I've written, have been people who are big comic book fans or huge movie fans, and you can put quotes from movies, or you can find quotes from someone's favourite book and put in the ceremony, and then incorporate it throughout for both the bride and the groom. Even if it's just something simple that by helping them write their vows. Do you find that they come to you with an idea, or do you find that they come to you and ask you for an idea? Nobody generally has a clue. Most
Really?
people, that's the first thing I ask, have you got any preconceived ideas on how you want your ceremony to go?
Yeah.
And they just say no.
Is that right?
We have no idea how this works.
Is that because, do you expect that because they're having it as a celebrant wedding, do you think that they would go into that if they would have a traditional church wedding, or do you just think that that's how people are?
I think that's how people are. Like, if you've never been married before, you don't know what happens.
That's true.
So in the documents that I give to the clients, once they've booked, I have in there a sheet called a basic structure, and it's really just a run of the wedding.
Yeah.
But it's done so that they understand where things fall into place and how they fall into place.
Yeah.
And it's really just for them to feel comfortable with the way that the day's going to proceed.
Yeah.
So it is changeable. As long as you say the legal wording in a ceremony, you can actually do anything you want in a wedding ceremony.
And do they choose locations, or do you give them locations?
No, they choose locations.
They choose locations. You give them options, or they come to you with something?
I can, if they want suggestions. I have a bride who's just moved down from Bundaberg, and they're just having their reception at a local leagues, RSL.
Yep.
And she had no idea where to have the ceremony, so I suggested a couple of parks around Brisbane.
Some beautiful parks.
Yeah, well, they're going to Mora Park at Shorncliffe now. So I said, just go up and have a look and see what you think. And they loved it, so they booked it.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just because I know, because I do lots of weddings all around.
Yeah. So if anyone was interested in looking at having like a face-to-face with you or anything like that, just touching base with you, how would they best do that?
They just need to contact me. They can call, text,
and
contact me
what's
on
your
Facebook.
page names? Yeah.
Okay, so my Facebook is Tracey Moyle Brisbane Celebrant.
So that's TRACEYMOYLE
Brisbane Celebrant.
Yep.
My Instagram is the same. It's _ between Tracey Moyle and Brisbane Celebrant. I have a website that's ceremoniesandcelebrations.com.au, and all my phone numbers and email information's on those.
Yep.
So it's just Tracey at ceremoniesandcelebrations.com.au. But every initial meeting is obligation free. Nobody needs to feel pressure to book. Not with me. I don't pressure people into it. So they're either happy with having me as their celebrant or not. And if they're not, then it wasn't meant to be. That's just the way I look at life. Most people these days want a nice, relaxed, easygoing, fun wedding, and that's generally the only style of wedding that I do.
Do you do that was something completely different because you're heavily into 90s music and probably 2000s, more so 90, 80?
I love 90s music. I think grunge was the best thing that ever happened to the world.
You heard it here.
Grunge. But I do listen to a lot of current music,
Yeah, me
which
too.
some people
Yeah.
dispute whether it's actually music or not.
I have heard many of child Gen Z say that. They like, what is this that you're listening to? But you know,
Yeah, it's actually my husband that says, "What are you listening to?"
art is interpretation, though.
That's right. It's very
That's
true.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But yeah, I love music. Music, apart from my family, is my number one love.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you bring that to do they ask you, or do you mention it to them and have that, does that help you with rapport and?
Oh, definitely. I know I met a couple just 3 weeks ago for an initial consultation, and we were talking about, just wedding stuff.
Yeah.
And the groom-to-be, mentioned that he played in a band, and I said, "Oh, what sort of music do you play?" And he said, "Oh, you won't like it." He said, "I'm in a punk band." I was like,
Oh.
I'm going to see a punk band on Wednesday night. So, yeah. So it was really good. Then we had this great conversation about music and all the things that we love and grew up listening to, and they booked. And now I'm their celebrant. But I'm sure that's not, just the only reason why. But
if you
nice
have
to have that
with them.
rapport.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think because I am quirky, so I think that's why I tend to attract a lot of quirky people. I like heavy music. I like pop culture, like comic books, science fiction.
Yeah,
I read Shakespeare. I'm very eclectic.
You are. You are.
I'm unique.
Yes. So, really to round this up is that Tracey is available. All you have to do is contact her on social media, Facebook. You can contact her on, what was it, Tracey Moyle
At
No,
sorry, it's Tracey at ceremoniesandcelebrations.com.au.
Yeah. And it's no obligation, just have a chat.
Just to have a chat, answer any questions, or you can call me. I'm happy to answer anything.
It's crazy. And it's also crazy having this vlog. This is our first business vlog. So this is Businesswomen in the Burbs. This is
even know she was doing
Tracey. I probably didn't mention, but I'm Jill. So I'm like a noob at this. But, we're going to continue on. And look, Tracey's an awesome celebrant. So give her a go or just have a chat. So I hope you enjoyed it and you can talk about music. I hope you enjoyed the vlog, and we will catch up with our next Businesswoman in the Burbs next episode. Ciao.
Bye.